New Arizona Congresswoman Yassamin Ansari, a Democrat, decided to skip the inauguration in D.C. and attended an MLK march in Phoenix instead, explaining her presence here by saying she, quote, couldn't imagine normalizing the Trump administration and the policies that she said she knew were coming.
So which policies does Representative Ansari oppose, and are there any she supports? Let's ask her on Arizona's Morning News. Good morning, Congresswoman. Are his immigration and border policies the biggest bones you have to pick with Donald Trump?
Hi, good morning. First of all, thank you so much for having me on.
Sure.
The policies related to immigration and particularly pledges to end birthright citizenship, which is part of our U.S. Constitution, also going after, folks in our district who are of DACA status or dreamers are, of course, highly concerning. But there were many, many other policies, including pulling out of the Paris Climate Accords, rolling back environmental protections in the wake of fires ravaging Los Angeles, and things that got lost in there. Trump just also signed an executive order to halt funding from the bipartisan infrastructure bill, which is funding for our roads and highways and so much of the good work that Phoenix has done over the last couple of years on creating a city that, is keeping up with the rapid growth as well. So, it's very disappointing to see. And, I think we should be expecting more and more in the coming days as well.
Are you disappointed that Arizona's two Democratic senators, Mark Kelly and Ruben Gallego, whom you replaced in the House, supported the Laken-Riley Act that includes mandatory detention for immigrants accused of certain crimes?
Look, I'm making decisions for my own district. For me, when I looked at that bill in particular, and looking at Congressional District 3, which is, a very diverse, vibrant community. And what concerned me in particular about that bill is the lack of due process, the fact that there are no protections for dreamers. I think everyone, Democrat or Republican, can agree we need a secure border. We need comprehensive immigration reform. This bill isn't that. This bill should never be branded as a border bill. That's not what it is. There's no due process. It also gives disproportionate power to attorneys general in a variety of states, and that's a cause for concern as well.
Now, are there any stated policies of the Trump administration that you think are going to be good for both Arizona and your constituents?
I'm awaiting that as well. I think there's been a lot of talk about the economy. There's a need to lower costs. We have a housing crisis in Phoenix. I didn't see one executive order related to the housing crisis in the Trump administration. There are executive orders about gender, and there are no executive orders about cost. So I think the priorities are a little off. I look forward to working with Republican counterparts, hopefully in Congress, on lowering costs for Arizona families. We had a breakfast meeting with our state delegation talking about issues like water security and securing Arizona's water future in the long term. We talked about, making sure that we are at the forefront of clean energy. So there are things I think that we can work on together as a delegation that are important to Arizona. But when it comes to the administration, I have not seen anything yet that makes me hopeful.
Let's get back to the Laken-Riley Act really quickly. You mentioned dreamers, those who are protected under DACA. If they commit crimes, they're not supposed to remain in the country anyway. And isn't that what the Laken-Riley Act does? It is mandatory detention for immigrants who are accused of crimes?
That's correct. The problem with this bill is that there's literally no due process, and we're talking about petty crimes here. So let's say somebody is at a gas station and they are simply accused of stealing a pack of gum. They could be deported immediately without any due process whatsoever. The other main concern I have with this bill, as well as other policies that are being proposed, is that even ICE has said that there is no budget for this kind of work. It's going to take away from dealing with actual violent crime in this country, and looking at this provides an opportunity for people to just simply point fingers, racially profile, stereotype. We're going back to the days of SB 1070, and that is not a history in Arizona that I think we should be reliving.
Arizona Congresswoman Yassamin Ansari, who is joining us here at KTAR News and Arizona's Morning News.
Thanks for watching Arizona's Morning News. Click to watch more from KTAR News and hit the button in the middle to subscribe.